heard from the Davis family, since Troy's execution, they still acknowledge the grief of the MacPhail family. Even in their darkest hours, when they were losing their loved one, they never failed to acknowledge the grief of another family. The execution of Troy Davis has sparked debate about the death penalty, which, as a campaigner, I've never seen before. Opinion polls in the US show that the death penalty, support for the death penalty, is at its lowest point for around 40 years. Everyone around the world was talking about this case. I was in Thailand on the night that Troy was executed. I'd been there on sabbatical for reprieve. And it was one of the hardest things for me as an individual to not be there in Savannah when I felt that Troy really needed us all the most. But I was sitting in my hotel in Bangkok. It was 8 o'clock in the morning, I guess. I hadn't slept. I'd been up watching Democracy Now!, as we all would have been. Thailand's 11 hours ahead of the US. And there on the TV in Bangkok was a picture of Troy on BBC News 24, and it just reminded me how far we've come and how far his case has come and what his case has done for the movement to abolish the death penalty. And I had to go directly from there to Bang Kwang, the Bangkok Hilton, as it's sometimes affectionately known, to visit some individuals on whose behalf we were working. And at the moment that they announced that the Supreme Court had denied, I had to leave my hotel room and go to Bang Kwang. You can imagine, as everyone here felt, it utter heartbreak and utter grief, and thinking there's nothing I want to do less than leave this room. I just quite frankly want to curl up on my bed and cry and think about Troy. And then I thought, no, in Troy's words, this is not just about Troy Davis. This is about the Troy Davises that came before him and the Troy Davises which will come after him. So I said, you know, if I was talking to Troy now, he'd say, go out there and go and show those people in Bang Kwang that there's someone thinking about them. Which is what I did. I took myself over to Bang Kwang, and I made sure that I continued with what I was there to do, which was to fight the death penalty. And, you know, I think about Troy and his family, and we talk so much in the UK about standing shoulder to shoulder with the United States. And the people I want to stand shoulder to shoulder with are our counterparts at Amnesty USA, are the NAACP, are the Davis family, and everyone else who is campaigning against the death penalty, not just in the USA, but all around the world. At the moment that Troy was pronounced dead at 11:08, we know this because a photograph was taken on a digital camera of Martina, which had the time on it. Martina Correa was outside the prison. She'd met a young woman who had driven from California to be at Jackson for Troy's execution night. And Martina had taken this young woman over to Laura Moy at AIUK. And Martina, as you may have seen, is not very well at the moment. She brought this young woman over and she said, Laura, this young woman's driven all the way from California. Please make sure you get in touch with her, get her email address, get her involved in the campaign. She wants to be involved in the campaign. And it wasn't until the photographs were uploaded off Scott Langley's camera that they noticed the time, 11:08, on that particular picture of Martina introducing this young activist to Laura Moy. And that's so indicative of the strength and the passion and the campaigning of the Davis family, that even in Martina's midst of absolute grief, she wanted to make sure that this campaign continued. She wanted to make sure that this young woman was plugged in to the abolition work in the USA. And as I say, the execution of Troy has sparked so much debate. And we're all looking for someone to blame when we're debating the death penalty. We're looking for someone to blame for the execution of our friend Troy. And we could look to blame the Board of Pardons and Paroles, we could look to blame the judge, we could look to blame the individuals that signed the death warrant, the judge that issued the death warrant. But ultimately, the thing that's to blame is the system. It was the system that failed Troy Davis and the system which allowed Troy Davis to be executed. And that is what we have to do, is we have to break the system of the death penalty. We have to abolish the death penalty, not just in America, but all around the world. So we may have lost the effort to keep Troy alive, and the local politics that drive capital punishment in Georgia were ultimately more powerful than the 1 million signatures that were collected around the world and the voices of esteemed political and humanitarian figures. But Laura Moy spoke to Sister Helen Prejean, the author of Dead Man Walking, on the phone, and this is a paraphrase from what Helen Prejean said. She said, "Everybody, everywhere is talking about the death penalty. It's like nothing I've ever seen. I am so sorry for what the state of Georgia did to Troy Davis and his family, but Brother Troy has given us a gift, and he is going to be part of how we ended the death penalty." And that's true. You know, we have lost a tremendous campaigner for human rights. We've lost a man I believe is an innocent man who was executed by the state of Georgia. But the greatest honour that we can pay to Troy, the greatest legacy that Troy can leave, and the greatest respect that we can pay to his family is to continue this campaign, to say that we will never allow another family to go through what the Davis family went through, that we will work to abolish the death penalty around the world. And so we mustn't give up, we mustn't feel so much grief about Troy's execution that we can't continue the campaign, because this campaign will win. One day we will abolish the death penalty in the US, and one day the world will be an execution-free zone. So thank you for being with us to make Troy's campaign happen, and I say that on behalf of the Davis family. And please stay with us and help us to write the next chapter of our campaign, which is how we abolish the death penalty around the world.
Can I just say a massive thank you. We really appreciate you being here, and it's amazing to hear from someone who's actually met Troy Davis, and that was really amazing. Thank you so much. I'm going to hand over now to Nicole. She's going to read a letter from Troy Davis that he wrote in 2008. Ready? Yeah, thank you.
I want to thank all of you for your efforts and dedication to human rights and human kindness. In the past year, I've experienced such emotion, joy, sadness, and never-ending faith. It is because of all of you that I'm alive today. As I look at my sister Martina, I am marvelled by the love she has for me. And of course, I worry about her and her health, but as she tells me, she is the eldest, and she will not back down from this fight to save my life and to prove to the world that I am innocent of this terrible crime. As I look at my mail from across the globe, from places I have never ever dreamed I would know about, and people speaking languages and expressing cultures and religions I could only hope to one day see firsthand, I am humbled by the emotion that fills my heart with overwhelming, overflowing joy. I can't even explain the insurgence of emotion I feel when I try to express the strength I draw from you all. It compounds my faith, and it shows me yet again that this is not a case about the death penalty. This is not a case about Troy Davis. This is a case about justice and the human spirit to see justice prevail. I cannot answer all of your letters, but I do read them all. I cannot see you all, but I imagine your faces. I cannot hear you speak, but your letters take me to the far reaches of the world. I cannot touch you physically, but I feel your warmth every day that I exist. So thank you, and remember that I am in a place where execution can only destroy your physical form. But because of my faith in God, my family, and all of you, I have been spiritually free for some time now. And no matter what happens in the days, weeks to come, this movement to end the death penalty, to seek true justice, to expose a system that fails to protect the innocent, must be accelerated. There are so many more Troy Davises. This fight to end the death penalty is not won or lost through me, but through our strength to move forward and save every innocent person in captivity around the globe. We need to dismantle this unjust system, city by city, state by state, and country by country. I can't wait to stand with you, no matter if that is in physical or spiritual form. I will one day be announcing, I'm Troy Davis, and I am free. Never stop fighting for justice and rule.